My child wants to transition from male to female. Last year, my 19-year-old left home in the middle of the night and drove 14 hours from St. Louis to Virginia. My two immediate thoughts were, how could I not have guessed this? So that's why we've been struggling with anxiety, depression, isolation, and anger since middle school. As a child, my daughter was a rough and tumble, sports-loving boy. There were no you not when you believe something about you is so flawed that no one could possibly know and still love you. That takes its toll. When Jazz came out as A, everything got better. Her relationship, not that we didn't have awkward times. When Jazz came home as Jazz, she was nervous about being out in public, and I was nervous too. She asked me for, honestly, I said, I don't know. Let's figure it out. We went shopping for clothes. I found a makeup bag when Jazz drove to Virginia Beach and sent me a text that read, I am a woman in love with a man. I could have reacted in several ways. I could have reacted, if, hey, raise how you can choose acceptance too. Accept the declaration and take baby steps. Joni Stacy, co-founder OFA, tells Check Nows that small adjustments can make a big difference. You don't go from, support your child, it's their greatest chance for success. When loved ones find out that a young person is transgender or non-binary, many are deeply fearful for their child's health and safety. But guess what's the best predictor of a trans or non-binary person's continued health and safety? Clear and consistent parental support is. Kelly Stork, licensed clinical social worker and author OFA, and who also happens to be Jazz's therapist, tells Check Nows that trans kids who have full, clear, and consistent parental support perform better on all measures of well-being and markedly better than kids who have somewhat supportive or unsupportive parents. This means you have the greatest power to influence the health and safety of your child, and it all starts with love and acceptance, she adds. Don't expect to have all the answers. Because kids don't expect you to. What they do expect to make mistakes. Sometimes, my husband and I would mess up our daughter's name or pronoun by accident. But as long as we realize that this is good news. Although parts of a child's transition process may prove difficult, their coming out should be seen as a positive. Stork says, having a child who understands the importance of being true to who they are and who trusts you enough to share deeply personal and often risky information is an honor. Do your best to treat it as such by thanking them for sharing and providing them with support and affirmation in many forms. We had a re-birthday party for Jazz on her 20th birthday to celebrate her true identity and to visibly demonstrate our acceptance. What your child needs. Get educated. No child experiences gender in a vacuum, and children aren't the only ones who transition. Families do. Stacy also uses as a resource for education, and websites such as ASA can help in your understanding too. Having a universal. Here are some other books Stork recommends on the topic. Curiosity that this experience is akin to buying a new car. You didn't notice that Jazz is so happy now, and the past few months of her life have been her best yet. Never saw this coming, and yet we are glad we're here. Of course, our related video gender identity and sexual identity provided by Dr. Phil.
Raindrop, drop top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Cooking up, open the park pot.